Start the recording. So this demo, this webinar is going to be for Escape Games Global and Entertainment Waivers. They share the same functionality, just slightly different names. You can go ahead and look in the Q&A section, and there's a link to the outline that we're going to be working off of today. I'm going to try to fit to this state of this outline as much as possible. If you have any questions, ask them in the Q&A section over here, and I'll try to get to them as quick as possible and hopefully within the spectrum in which we're working at within the demo. At the very end of it, we're going to go for answers and questions and stuff like that. Probably questions, answers, more so in that order. And we're going to go ahead and kind of go through as much stuff as we can. And yeah, so we're going to start over here with the waiver. So this is the demo store lock break games. And we have a few games here, trampolines, axe throwing. We actually support multiple kind of attractions now. So rather than just escape rooms, trampolines, axe throwing, paintball, whatever it is, we can kind of support it. And you can actually do multiple things under one roof, which is lock break games. So we're going to go ahead and click Prison Break. As we are a customer, we've just went into your store. And they're going to be asked to use a tablet, or they can use a QR code, or they could have signed it online. Either way, we're going to go to Prison Break. I'm going to say 3 p.m. Now, we can do adult with minors, and we could select up to 19 and sign them all in at the same time. But we're just going to do adult. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use Mason at escapegamesglobal.com. So after I put that in, my name is going to pre-populate because it knows who I am because I've played it somewhere else in the world that uses our software. So let's say I have a store, an escape room store in Orlando, and there's an escape room store in Seattle. And a customer came in and he played at my store in Orlando, but he happened to use Escape Games Global in Seattle on some other business that's not related to mine. But since he's registered there, as soon as he puts in his email, it's going to pre-populate the rest of the stuff. So if they're kind of entertainment junkies, if they've been to other venues before, it'll save you a lot of time on the bottleneck for your waiver signage. We also added a question recently, did you organize this group? This helps us to determine whether or not you're a kind of the organizer, the buyer, the person who makes decisions, the person that's more likely to get other people to get up their butt to play escape rooms and trampoline parks. So now we've quickly, other than my long-winded explanation, signed the waiver. We go ahead and complete. Now, it'll ask us for a team name, which they go ahead and take care of themselves. So the team name, let's go ahead and say lots of questions. Now, I'm going to hit finish. And since I've played escape rooms before with Escape Games Global, it'll say the amount of rooms I've played, the amount of rooms I've escaped, my completion rate, my achievement points. And keep in mind, like, this is all options. You can disable that, you can enable it, so on and so forth. It'll say these are the achievements that I've won or about to win. So it kind of gives them a little bit more gamification for where they're going to go into the game, hopefully enjoy it in a different way. Maybe even entice a return visit on the same game, which is astronomically rare, but nonetheless. And just to kind of go into it a little bit further, we're going to take Prison Break, 3 o'clock, and assign it to somebody else. And the reason why I'm doing this is, it'd help if I spelled my name right. The reason why I'm doing this is I want to go ahead and see the team name again. Phone number. A team name says lots of questions because the previous customer assigned it. Now we can update it and say number 2. So now it'll update. So the multiple people that come in and sign the waiver for the same team, they get more options to change the name, so on and so forth. And also this user's been through and played a few escape rooms as well, so he's got his own profile. So we've now signed 2 people in for Prison Break at 3 o'clock, right? And then those people, theoretically in the same group, but go in and play the game and get their game on, right? So at the end of that process, they'd hopefully win the game. And then your game masters, or whoever's in charge, would go ahead and bring in the admin app. Now the admin app is different. There's 2 apps. One's the waiver app, which is kind of on tablets, so on and so forth, in front of your store where the customers can access it. The admin app is pretty much where everything else is done. And the admin app, you're going to be in the queue 95% of the time. Now, there's been some new functionality that we've added lately. You can now show players. So we saw that Mason Ambrose and Mason Ambrose, their 2 different accounts, have signed up for the Prison Break, 3 o'clock, lots of questions, number 2. So that's us. We want to go ahead and fill this game out. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to select the team photo. And we're going to say team photo. There we go. Let's do one with my dog. So there we are. Now, since it's Prison Break, there's an overlay cast on it. The overlay is just prison bars. You know, you can create your own, you can upload your own, you can choose from a few options that we have, but usually people upload their own. You can also take a custom message. If this is going to be texted out to players or Facebook, you can actually throw in a pre-populated message that you've defined before. We're going to keep it at default. We're going to say we have escaped, and we took 33 minutes and 33 seconds to do it because we're super fast. 2 clues. You can disable clues. Some people do nowadays. And these are customized achievements or custom achievements. Basically, you can create your own little achievements. So this one, I believe, silence is you can't speak during the escape room or for the first 10 minutes, whatever your venue decides to do. You'll maintain those yourself. But nonetheless, so we've got, we're going to escape. We did the team photo. We're going to hit complete. So now what it's doing is it's uploading to Facebook. It's texting the players, it's emailing the players, it's doing the leaderboards, creating the achievements, so on and so forth. So now the main thing here, leaderboards and achievements, really the value is it's to start a conversation. It's not really about competition. You don't really care if your players are competitive, and most of them won't be. But you know, we just filled it out. We have the leaderboards and achievements active. Now we can see that your team completed 7 achievements. So your game master theoretically would have just filled this out, your staff, and they can now go, wow, you guys completed 7 achievements. You're #1 overall ranking for this. You're #1. 2 players are killing it. Lots of achievements. Here they are. Mainly, the whole thing is when you create a memory with a player, it's because they just got done, they feel smart, and you want to make them feel smarter. Stroke the ego, they'll come back in for more repeat business. So we give you lots of ways to brag about them to make sure they know how smart they are and how exclusive and unique of a performance they gave, because that makes them feel better. And then up here you have the image, your team photo. You can add more if you have the unlimited team photos add-on. You can rotate it, look at it a little bit more, so on and so forth. But for our purposes, we want to go into the game that we just did. So we're going to go to the games menu. And the games menu basically will have our Prison Break, 3 o'clock, there we are. So we're going to go into that. So you can check out all the games you've ever completed or not completed. We can see right there, here's our players. Are they going to get the emails? Yes, because some people can say they can opt out of marketing emails, so on and so forth. Here's the events. We did complete the game, so it lets you know kind of what happened to the game with your staff. What did they do? The accolades, these are the things that we did right. And if we wanted to, we could leave a note and say, these guys are awesome. And they're really good people. So we're going to leave that. And now if your staff needs to come back here and check on it, they go, you could put something along the lines of, these guys broke some stuff, not really cool group, so on and so forth. And then we're going to drill down on it a little bit. We're going to go to this guy. And now it's going to bring up this player. I've got a little avatar in there because I'm special. But overall, we've got a lot of games associated with this person. Most of them are deleted because I try to get rid of them for this guy. Signed a lot of waivers, a lot of communications, meaning we've sent out a lot of emails, a lot of texts. We got some notes in there, so on and so forth. See the habits, what they've done, all that. You get a really good profile. And here we actually see over charted time. This is unusual since he's done so many things. You could see all the interactions they've done with your store. So you could see date when they came back, when they didn't. But it's a little bit crazy on this guy. However, one thing I wanted to show you though is the notes. So one thing that we added in recently is we have a lot of customers. We have hundreds of customers, right? And some of them, you know, it's a competitive industry, but some of them it would be good to communicate with, right? So you could go ahead and say something like, this guy totally broke something in my room, didn't want to pay for it, right? So then you could go ahead and say breakage. When you add that note, you have a big red note. Anytime he, well, I should actually go and do it real quick. I'm going to go ahead and add him to another game. Perfect. And now that we've added him to another game, we can go to the queue. and say, boom. So now when we come in here, if that's an alert, if anybody did this at any store in the nation and said, this guy is a problematic guy, meaning he's been fraudulent, he's broke stuff, whenever you come into the queue, your staff can't miss the fact that it's a bad play. You know, it's a good thing to watch out for this guy. You know, just pay attention to what he's doing. It's really an owner-to-owner kind of thing. It's just to kind of keep you in the loop if they want to. It's a good way to share data between everybody. So that's a very, very recent feature that we just put in, actually yesterday or Monday, yeah. But nonetheless, we're going to go through a few little appearance things here. Appearances, we got a lot of options here, and we're going to go to emails first, right? So emails, you can actually use your own templates, or you can use the default template. The default template has a lot of stuff going on here. You don't even need to, when the team photos come up, they can be linked directly, like in the email, they can be linked directly to our stat profile page, or you can have it integrated on your website. Or if you want to disable all of that completely, you could just have it go directly to your Facebook page. So you can stick that option in here, right there, say, this is my main review mechanic, lots of little things. And you also, here's the email right here. And then with this section, you can actually change a lot of the little colors, so on and so forth. You can get rid of the top bar if you wanted to. And it's all in real time. So as soon as you change these things, it's changed for everybody you send the email out to. But you have a nice little bit of control here as to what your emails look like. As far as waivers, you have a lot of control. You can disable minor support, recent game history. When you saw the achievements and stuff at the very end of the waiver, you can disable all that. Just make it so you can't see it. Some people don't really have leaderboards and achievements. And that history is for all games and attractions under Escape Games level, not just yours. So sometimes you can like to remove that. You can add in a bunch of questions. You can make them required. You can set the age of your minor. It's different per state, and that's one tip that some of the owners on right now don't realize that. Jurisdiction-wise, you can set your minor to the age of 13, because if you want 16-year-olds to do it, that's fine. Research that in your own area, figure out what it is. With the waivers, you can actually change a lot of the little values in there to customize it to whatever you want it to be. And you know, and this is also changing. So actually, let's go back and do that real quick. Waiver background, I'm going to change the bar to black. Look at that, killing it over here. And if we actually open up our waiver right now, it's already changed. So it's very, very quick and easy to change your waiver options. Then we're going to move on to leaderboards. Now, leaderboards are kind of cool. You can do a leaderboard interval. So in other words, your leaderboards will kind of go in a 3 to 6 months. That means you're only looking at the last 3 months of players to evaluate their rankings rather than annually or all time. Sticking with a lower interval is good because it makes them kind of competing a little bit more, makes them, if you've grandfathered in old times because you've changed puzzles, it's good to keep the interval a little lower. Rankings about, you can say all these times. Some people like to put the top 3, some people like to put the top 50. You can change whatever it is there. You can put in time remaining or time elapsed, whatever you want. Escape Room Master, a lot of the timing software is used time remaining. So you can have your staff put that in. Here's what the leaderboards look like initially by default. Same thing with leaderboards, you can change a lot of the colors. This is kind of how it works though. So this is Escape U with our older customers. Here's our leaderboard. It's actually broken down into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 player groups. So each one of them, and we tell them this, if they did really well and they have 2 players, it should be different than 8 players. You should be able to brag about a 2-person group rather than an 8-person group. And you should be able to brag about all of it, the all over board. So what we try to do is tell players how awesome they are and give us a lot of little niches, because in basketball, they're like, this guy's really good at shooting 3-pointers in the third quarter when the moon is high and when the small children's running, like really, really, really niche stats. But people really like it because they're still number 1. So that being said, we try to give them a lot of niche stats. And if we click into any one of these to see, we see all the achievements that group has won, all the players there. We can actually click into those players. We can see all the games they've played. This person has played 3 of them. You can see them here, and you can go into any one of them. So it's kind of like your entire gaming history is online. Now, it can actually be integrated into your website. This is one of the websites, kind of snazzy one, where they put the waiver or the profiles in there, so you can just kind of click through them there and find out whatever they want. So, there's a lot of little things you can do with the leaderboards there. Let's see here, I got a question. You can also, we'll get into the, how can I automate, Barry said, how can I automate sending customer information to our email platform? Right now, we integrate with MailChimp, so as soon as they sign the waiver, it goes straight up to MailChimp. If not that, you can actually export the data, which we'll show a little bit later. And when we get there, I'll mention your name, Barry. We got this. All right, real quick, I'm going to show you event management. I'm going to create an event. So event management basically is a quick and dirty way to organize large events, right? Because when events come through, it's usually a large bottleneck. There's like tons of people there. They don't know what game they're playing, and they're just kind of all over the place. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to set an event date. So let's say it's tomorrow, organization, lock break webinar, peeps webinar. Geez, I can't spell. And then we're going to go for, wait, that's the organization. That's fine. And expected participants, 30. And next contact details, okay. Mason, phone is whatever. Email is Mason at Escape Games Global. And we're going to say the game details. We're going to say, okay, they're going to play Prison Break. They're going to play it on that day. And then they're going to go ahead and play it at 4 p.m. Add game. So now Prison Break is a part of our event, and now we're going to go ahead and review and send. So basically, we can send the waiver link, and then I'm going to get it in the mail, then go back to our events, and now it is. Webinar peeps right there. So in the mail, I'd receive, since I'm the organizer, I'll distribute that email amongst the people that are in my event, and then they'll all sign the waivers. Now, as they start to sign the waivers, we'll see the participants will start to fill up. So as an escape room owner, you should be able to go in there and see all the participants that are being added, because they'll take care of themselves. And the closer you come to the event, let's say the day of the event, the hour of the event, you can go in there and go, okay, look, there's 25 out of 30 people that have signed up. We've got to get 5 of them in there. So we just know that we need at least 5 waiver signatures once they get here. And then it also shows you all the communication that's been going back and forth between the events and whatnot. And you can take notes on it too. They had a great time. They didn't have a great time. Due diligence, so on and so forth. Another question from Barry asking about Klaviyo and Emma, their email platforms. We're going to integrate with Emma in the very near future, and we haven't had plans. We haven't had any actual customers require Klaviyo, but if their demand comes up, we can always integrate. They're not too hard to do. All right, let's go to show you some email stuff, because emails are awesome. They make us money. So real quick and dirty, I'm going to show you how to make an email template. If you're familiar with MailChimp, very similar. You can go ahead and create your own stuff. Go ahead and we're going to save this out. Let's make a change here. Save lock break. Okay, cool. We've created a template just like that, right? It'll probably take you a little bit longer because you want to get it right, but we're going to use that template in just a second. So email campaigns. This is primarily for automated email campaigns. What we're going to do is we're going to create one. The premise behind automated email campaigns is that it takes a while to do a marketing email. It's a pain in the butt. You're supposed to do one every week, preferably on Tuesday or Wednesday, to get the most notice from your customers. And so it takes me 3 or 4 hours a week to do this. It's a real big pain. So I wanted to automate as much as I could for you. So what I did is I created this automated email campaign. So let's see if we can start one. Say campaign name, we're going to go birthdays. And we're going to say happy birthday, game's on us. I'm going to go email template. We just made a lock break. And promotion code, let's just say Z or something like that. Cost per admittance, $30. And this is just for statistical purposes. We're not going to actually charge them. So it's going to say event. And let's say every time customer's birthday, how many days before the event do we want to send this email out? 30. So what we're doing is we're saying whenever our system recognizes that it's a birthday of a person, we're going to send this email out 30 days before the birthday. Do we want to send this out to the person with the birthday or their most recent teammates? We definitely want to send it to the recent teammates. What that'll do is we can go ahead and say something like, in the email content, which we just kind of went through, we could say something along the lines of, Joe's birthday is coming up. Come and play with Joe, and as long as you bring in 4 people, Joe can play for free. That's a very convertible email lead. That's very, very solid. That's better than just saying Valentine's Day 20% off. And every night, we'll check to make sure that event is true, and if it's true, we're going to send out that email. So basically, you can pull things off like that. And we actually tell you right here, if you know your conversion rates, we're going to go ahead and say, this is how much money you're going to make from this email. For us right now, given the fact that we don't have that many email addresses on the demo account, which is understandable, we're not going to make a whole lot of money. But if you had 30,000 in there, you can just go ahead and say, what at 1% conversion rate, you're going to see this much money, this much money, this much money. For the cost, it's very valuable. So you could start the campaign or edit it again, but basically when you start the campaign, now it's there, it's active. And you could do other campaigns like start real quick, game or signed waiver, 5 days out, test, say email template, I'm going to send the 1940 template, Zogo or Zugu, whatever, 30. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say customer created. 3 days after the event, we're going to send that email out. It's going to say that, start the campaign. And now what we've done is we've created a cadenced email. So after they sign the waiver 5 days out, it's going to go ahead and, well, 3 days out since we selected that, it's going to go ahead and send that email out. What I would do optimally is create like 8 of these. I'd say 3 days out, 7 days out, 14 days out, 21 days out, 60 days out, 180, 360. I would just have it in there to remind them that we exist, right? And then that's just fine. This will all take place without you doing anything. You just do that one day where you write the emails, create the events, and then it's automated at that point. And you can just track the conversions. So I got another question. Can we import email list to Escape Games Global? Yes. And the value of that's kind of tricky because a lot of the things, like we just saw right here, what I just did, after a customer is created or birthday, you have to have a lot of the data in there for that. So if you imported like, I don't know, 10,000 email addresses and we didn't actually have when they signed the waiver, or like we didn't have that date, we wouldn't be able to do some of these with that imported list. You can do it with anybody that signed up on Escape Games Global organically, naturally. But for this, it's, you know, you can't. You can definitely put them in there, and usually that kind of comes through me. You just say, I want to import this, and I take care of it for you. Barry asked, is this replacing the workflows built into our existing email platform? Some of them. I mean, honestly, where I'm going to go with this in the next year is I'm going to kind of create something competitive to MailChimp and Constant Contact, where you can just take care of all your email needs natively from this. You don't have to manage the list. It's all done for you. But this would just be taken care of on a very, very advanced subset of those emails. But the difference is, since we have their habitual data on if they escaped, if they didn't escape, we can actually do more events based on that. We can get into how emails can be exported to MailChimp. It's really, really silly simple. I'll show you towards the end a little bit. And here's another question. Customer created email would only send out if it's the first time they signed with EGG. So if they have already signed in a customer, they have already a customer in EGG, it wouldn't send it. If it would be from the date that they signed up with you specifically. So when a game is created, so on and so forth, that's when it would get queued up. Okay. So getting over to it, and I will not forget that MailChimp thing. It's actually in the outline. So we're going to go real quick to stats now, and I'll get geeky with you guys for just a second. But Stats, there's a lot of metrics we have. We've had these stats for a little while. We're actually hard at work at creating some new stats stuff that will really show value. But a lot of these things, demographics, your escape rates, your fill rates, which isn't working on the demo store, return business, which is what we're focusing on right now, because that's kind of cash in hand if we can lock that down. But I will give you something really freaking cool that I pulled up yesterday. So I wanted to show a return business stat. I wanted to be able to calculate, the value of return business and what everything is with there. And I was really curious on the return business of a person that escapes versus does not escape. So I calculated that out. I have all the stats for that kind of stuff, but I never really put the numbers together. And it's more or less within a spectrum of less than 1% to 10% return rate for customers if they escaped. If they didn't escape, they do not come back. I mean, we're talking infinitesimally small number, like thousandth of a percent if they did not escape. And that is the global thing, right? So once again, the average is around 5 to 6%, maybe 4 to 5, that they're going to come back if you let them escape. If you didn't let them escape, so we can actually attribute a value to that, and you could say this is valuable because of this. And if I push people through, if you're one of those competitive stores that likes to throw up the very competitive numbers and say, we're 9% escape room, and you really strict to that, you don't help them through, you're not going to get that repeat business, and I can mathematically prove it. But that being said, those kind of stats, whatever, we're working on upgrading our stats. Like I said, utilization, there's fill rates on a lot of the stuff, so it is actually working right now. Fill rates on all your games, you can see these are what you could sell out. These are the inventory you are selling. So we try to keep it in there, so get a lot of things. And then you also have game reviews here. Game reviews are basically, you can put reviews out of your game. It's a completely optional survey. You don't have to have it, but you can say the people that come in to play these games, if they're it's based also, it's kind of weighted by their experience. So if they've never played a game and they review it, not that weighted. If they've played a bunch of them, it's probably better to listen to them. But you can get a better idea of all that stuff like that and their experience, the people that are playing. So lots of stats to play with. And a quick overview, real quick. And I'll give me a second on that, Pamela, on the calculation of the return rate. I'll cover that in just a sec. A few little things before we get to the real questions. Store options here. Lots of different bells and whistles you can kind of wind, play with. You can remove the team names, remove the randomize, tips, so on and so forth. If you have the Empowered package, this isn't really listed, but if you have the Empowered package, you can actually remove any Escape Games Global branding from the software, from the customer-facing pages anyway. But lots of little things to play with in the store tip. Custom messaging, real quick. Custom messaging allows you to go ahead. If you have texting enabled, that means we also text the players when they finish the game. But you can actually set up different default text, default Facebook messages, so on and so forth. So you could say, for an event, you can give them a different text than you would whatever, because you want to sell to them directly. Website integration, as I showed you, this would be the profiles on a website. You can actually, you can actually integrate the waivers to your website, and it will work just fine. Player profiles, website like I showed you. You can actually leave a few little decorative things that can make them stand out a little bit better when they're on their website as well. You can actually go into waivers once more time. QR code. You can download a QR code. And actually, I'll show you what, well, yeah, let's see if I can get this on here. Desktop Mason, downloads. There we go. So you can actually take the QR code, download it, print it out, put it on your wall. And then people with phones could just point their camera app on it. It'll bring up the waiver, and then they can go ahead and sign on their phone. This is very good for mobile escape rooms. And if you don't have the, you don't want to spend a lot of money on tablets, but you still have large groups coming in, you can always just say, hey, sign it on your phone. It's fine. It'll all populate the right way, so on and so forth. Now to get into the real quick connections. We integrate right now with Facebook, MailChimp, and Zola. As we talked about, Emma and Bookio is probably coming pretty soon too. MailChimp, you just go through the process. It'll give you a lot of ways to hook it up. And then you just go through that. And then whenever they sign the waiver, it's going to go ahead and kind of pre-populate MailChimps for you. And also, we're talking about exporting data. So you can actually go ahead and say, I want to export my users from this range and this range, and download the CSV. So even if we don't support your MailChimp or your mail client platform, you can just download the CSV and upload it at will whenever you want. So that being said, that's more or less what I was going to go over as far as the demo of the products is concerned. The main thing is we're a precursor. We've been a precursor to a marketing platform before, and now we are really kind of going towards that full integration. We want you to mail from us. We want you to do a review thing. Actually, I didn't even talk about that. There's a review management tool, and what the review management tool does is if you designate, let me show you the options real quick. Actually, I may not have it turned on for this account. Yeah. So review options allows you to designate, let's say you say, I only want 4 stars or better from any reviews that are towards my business. So whenever we send out a review mechanic to your customer, it'll take them to our page. They'll say, how many stars do you want to be rated? And then or how many stars do you think this business did? And they can go ahead and say 4 or 5 stars, whatever. And then we'll be like, great. Here's the mechanics you can use, TripAdvisor, Google, which one do you want to use? And they'll send them off and they do the natural organic review. If they say 3 stars, which is under our minimum, what we can say at that point is, ooh, rather than sending them to the link to the review sites, we go, ooh, I'm so sorry. What did we do wrong? It gives them a nice text box where they can type in all their complaints and get nasty and so on and so forth. And that actually saves to our database so we can look at it and go, okay, all right, this is where we may have messed up. This is what we could have done better, so on and so forth. And one moment. And it really kind of filters out a lot of the bad reviews, and it gives you a lot more data on where the bad reviews are typically coming from as well. So that's usually pretty strong. And it also actually talks about the game master. They can list who the game master was to kind of solidify it a little bit more. Let's see, go with the questions that were ordered. And at this point, by far, start asking questions in QA. Pamela asks, how did I calculate that return rate? The return rate is based on, and it's also based on, let's say you have 10,000 total players. I looked at the people that have escaped at least more than one time, or just one time, and did they come back a second time? So those are your numbers. And then the other one is they returned but did not escape at all. Now keep in mind that doesn't account for a person that had actually escaped once or 7 times and played a bunch of rooms. That's still just one person. That's one return user. It doesn't mean it's one return user playing 1 game. It could be one return user playing 7 games. But it doesn't account for minors because we don't save the stats of minors and anybody without an email address, which we don't really allow to sign a waiver anyway usually. So that's kind of where it came from. We can put, I can get a little bit into that later as well. Can you integrate Escape Games Global with another booking app? To a degree, there's not a huge, massive benefit from integrating with the booking apps. There is a benefit, but the fact of the matter is you want everybody to sign the waiver, not just the one person. The main primary benefit is it populates your games a little ahead of time. So being that it's not a massively huge benefit, we haven't necessarily pushed our resources into integrating with all the booking apps. Bookie is a no-brainer because there's 50% of the usage, and we have a lot of Zola customers, which is where that started from. So it really depends on the booking app and how prevalent they are with our customer base. So if we got 20% of our customers who are using Fair Harbor, then we'll probably go down the Fair Harbor path. But if they're using something like, I don't know, Monkey Hack, which is something I just made up, and there's 2 people or 2 customers out of hundreds that we have that are using, they're probably not going to devote the resources to that. But it really just comes down to which one it is. Do we have any other questions for now? I feel I've bored everybody to sleep. So that being said, and I'm still looking at questions, so feel free to ask any if you'd like. There's a lot of stuff that we do, and I know that a lot of you have came in off the marketing email that I sent out. I'm going to start typing up a few more white papers with some other things that I've gathered in the industry. The marketing stuff, like I said, we're a precursor to marketing. I mean, really, you should be email marketing. There's no other way around it. At this point in the industry, it's kind of an absolutely crucial fact, and the people that do well do it a lot. I have a lot of customers on the phone or on the webinar here, and I'm going to be asking a few more questions to them, average ticket price, so on and so forth, so I can calculate a lot of the data, because that data about the return rate, people escaping versus not escaping, is remarkably useful, and I'd like to be able to calculate a value to that. So with the software, we kind of record that kind of stuff, and we're going to be using it a little bit more to kind of give you a better idea and what business practices to change or modify to actually earn you more revenue, because we can take that. Booking software gives you stats of financial data. We can give you habitual data mixed in with those stats. So that's kind of what we're going towards. But if you haven't done email marketing, like I said, like I've said in the email, we can get you started on that. At the very least, you want to go with somebody that has industry experience and that can leverage a little bit of that for everybody. So, I mean, that you can talk to me through an email. On our platform, up at the services menu, you can actually go to marketing and business, and then just simply click the button, and then we're going to find out all the information we need to contact you, and so on and so forth. But for the most part, we didn't even talk about screencasting. Screencasting, real quick, is a way that you can put team photos, leaderboards, advertisements, so on and so forth on your lobby TV, and you can kind of check it out and create slides for it, and just have some really cool stuff on there. So when your people walk in, they get to see all this information. It's really cool to actually escape a room and then come out and here's photos on the TV right after you do it. People really, really dig that. It makes them feel really, really special, which is pretty much the name of the game for us. So, but unless anybody has any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, kind of compile it, and put it on the website so everybody can take a look later on. And also, my phone number is 515-337-2273, and my email address, mason@escapegamesglobal. And if you need to talk to me for any reason at all, feel free. But yeah, once again, any more questions, I'll stick around for a few more minutes. And other than that, we should be good. Perfect. You know what? I'm all of a sudden getting updated with questions that probably came in a few minutes ago. Is there a camera feature within the admin app for game masters to easily attribute the proper picture with the proper groups? Yes. I probably didn't explain it very well. Right here, when you're actually in the queue, you click that, and it'll actually pop up. We're on a computer right now, so it'll pop up for a directory. We can select the pictures. But if you're on a phone or an iPad or whatever device, it'll pop up and say, would you like to pick it from a file, or would you like to take a photo? Take a photo is the one you want, and then you just take the photo. And then, so then it would just naturally, just like selecting this right here, it would take a photo, put it right there. So it's very, 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 very seamless in the process when you're actually using the Peak Pro. Yeah, we have, I'll look into the Peak Pro stuff. I have surveys in there to see how many people are using what. I'll take a look at that and reevaluate that for integration. We don't post individual team photos to Facebook, but instead one large post each week. Well, the way we do it, Ben, with Facebook, we post to the album, but there is actually an option for, I think it's in here. Yeah, so there's an option for Facebook photos on timeline, because it gets spamming if you keep that on, right? If every photo that gets, or every game completion that gets done, it goes to your timeline, it's too much for your users. So most people disable that. Some people enable it, most people disable it. And then all the photos are posted in albums, and their albums are monthly, daily, or weekly. So they can go and check that out. We don't really do batch posting. It's a lot easier on the service if we just kind of do them one at a time rather than a very large upload every once in a while, because it'll slow down the service for everybody else. So we just do it individually to the albums, whatever interval you'd like them to. But the way it usually works out is you kind of go in there and you just say, hey, it's on Facebook, go to the albums, and it'll be pretty obvious where it is, because it'll be like an August album or July album, so on and so forth. Real quick, website integration, any WordPress plugins? No, but it's not that hard to integrate either. We give the files and directions. Nobody really ever has a problem with it anymore. As far as birthday campaign, somebody asked the question, birthday campaign. Pamela, what did you have in mind with that? And I'll keep answering questions. Sorry, I missed the first half. Did you say you can post their image on the screen after taking it? When you say that the screen, do you mean the TV, or do you mean just take the photo and then see it on the admin app? Is there an opt-in, opt-out for option for the users in a MailChimp integration? Yeah, there is. You can just turn it on. It's a marketing question. Usually Canadian people, or Canadians and Europeans, typically enable this. So confirmation for marketing, with that added, with that check, and that just automatically enabled it for our waivers. Whenever they go on there, they can say, yes, I want to be marketed to, and no, I don't. So, and that actually holds true, for their entire stay at their store. As far as your question about Yes TV, yes, you can actually use screencasting to set up slides and different, different advertisements, team photos, leaderboards, achievement leaderboards, so on and so forth to your lobby TV. So you could just kind of set it up. The most recent team photo goes up there, so on and so forth. And then your users can, or your customers can see everything from the lobby TV, so long as it has internet connection. And if the only hardware you really need for that is like a Google Chromecast, which is like $35 plus the TV, But it's really, really cheap hardware solution to do. No problem. All right. Do you have any more questions at all? Okay, and I'm going to be around the office and all that for the rest of today. Feel free, if you want to give me a call, 515-337-2273. I like to answer anything in a little bit more of an intimate fashion, given the fact that we're in a webinar, not as much time personal question asking. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there, because it looks like we're kind of done on questions, and I'll share the recording on the site and probably throw it out in an email as well. So y'all have a good day, and really, really, really thank you for coming out and listening to me drone on and on and on about nerdy software. So